Over time, I have found that the most important and powerful tool that can impact your life and the lives of others is your attitude and your mentality. You know, one thing that I think is more contagious than COVID-19, it's your smile. And I think that something so small as smiling can innately and unconsciously cultivate a positive attitude internally without you even knowing it. And one of my favorite quotes about attitude is that it's your attitude, not your aptitude, that determines your altitude. And in my opinion, that's one of the greatest weapons you have in your life. I was extremely flattered when I was asked to speak about positivity, which is, as you know, one of the Sheltering Arms Institute's core values. And I would like to think it's because I live my life like I do my blood type, and that's be positive. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what allows me to live my life beyond limits. I can't express how thankful and how honored I am to be a part of and involved with Sheltering Arms and the Spinal Cord Injury Rehab Center there. So first, I'd really just want to say thank you, each of you there at Sheltering Arms, for everything that you have done up until this point, and even more so, and more importantly, what you'll do moving forward for the lives of every patient that comes through those doors. I don't think that you'll ever truly know the profound impact that you can have and will have on, frankly, on the people that you'll work with there. You'll have the opportunity to change lives every single day, and you'll experience and witness miracles. So take that for what it is, and please never forget it, because I am where I am today because of beautiful people like you. I admire you, I appreciate you, and I am in debt to you. So a little background about me. I am a C5 incomplete quadriplegic. However, by no means do I let that define who I am by any stretch of the imagination. In reality, I'm a highly motivated individual with just a lot of energy who loves everything that life has to offer, and I just so happen to be in a wheelchair and use it to navigate the craziness. And I, like many of the patients that you'll work with, unfortunately, I broke my neck in a diving accident 4 years ago on Memorial Day weekend in Ocean City, Maryland. After a series of miraculous events, I was transported to the University of Maryland Shock Trauma Center in Baltimore, where I had my surgery, and I stayed there in the ICU before I decided to go to the Shepherd Center in Atlanta, Georgia for inpatient rehab. There, between inpatient rehab and the day program, I was probably there for about 4.5 months before returning back to my life in Washington, D.C. And one thing I'm extremely proud of, to my knowledge, I was the only one at the time there to go directly straight from rehab to living independently and back to where I was living pre-injury, which a lot of people thought was a little crazy. And even my family originally wasn't too fond of the idea, but you know, they knew how determined I was and how important it was for me to get back to my life in DC. So that's what we all work towards. Really from the onset, from the moment that I was in the ICU and fully paralyzed, had no feeling, the whole time my number one goal was just getting back to my life beforehand. And I was going to do everything and anything possible to get some resemblance of my life beforehand. And although I knew what I wanted and what my goal was, it doesn't mean that I was always positive or in a good headspace by any means. Actually, like most people whose lives get completely turned upside down, I was getting mentally depressed and quite down really during the first month that I was at the Shepherd Center. And because, I mean, when something so traumatic happens to you like this, it is just as tough mentally as it is physically, if not more, especially from the onset. And I'll never forget, true story, it was 4th of July weekend, 2016, and it was like a light switch went on my head. That weekend was the hardest weekend for me because I was able to see everything my friends were doing on social media, and there I was just paralyzed in a hospital across the country, just feeling so sorry for myself. So I gave myself a pep talk right then and there and told myself that I just needed to get through that weekend because I knew it was going to be hard, knowing what all my friends were doing, knowing what I would have been doing. But I allowed myself to feel what I needed to feel, be sad and all, but I promised myself that next Monday, that Monday morning, that there'd be no more time for self-pity and that it was go time. Everyone's different, but something for me that almost immediately puts me in a good mood and can motivate me at the same time, it's music. So I bought a quality portable speaker to get myself excited and ready really for what I thought was the start of the rest of my life. So that Monday morning, I woke up with a renewed zest for recovery and a new approach to my situation, and it was 7:30 in the morning, no joke, and I blasted some reggaeton music for my favorite nurse tech and I to dance to in the morning and really hype me up before hitting the gym with a smile on my face and a new hunger for recovery. And really that weekend and in that moment, I changed my mindset and I leveraged everything I saw my friends doing over 4th of July weekend to motivate me and to refocus me back on that goal of just getting back to my life in DC and living independently. My determination to achieve that goal was then powered by my pivot to a can-do attitude and positive mentality, which is what ultimately made my return back to independent life so quickly a reality. And since then, I can say that I have truly lived a life beyond limits. Upon my return to DC, I continued outpatient rehab at NRH. I got involved in the United Spinal Metro DC chapter, where there I've actually served the last 2 years as treasurer and the fundraising committee chair. And it wasn't but 4 months until I went back to work full time while continuing therapy, of course. But more proudly, I think I can say that I traveled the world more in a wheelchair ever since than I did before my accident. I've been everywhere from visiting Petra in Jordan to Ibiza to Israel, Mykonos, and all over Europe down to Colombia and even to Brazil for Carnival twice. I have what I like to call a can't stop, won't stop attitude that just really makes me want to go and allows me to live life beyond limitations and really live it to the fullest. I don't see myself in a wheelchair and I don't live my life that way. Everyone has the freedom of will and has the choice of how we allow ourselves to perceive, process, and respond to things that happen to us. And I just want to tell you that you are in control of your life and can truly make it great. It's, how do you respond to adversity? How do you view it? You have to know that it's your adversity that will become your advantage later. The very first thing I do when I'm faced with adversity is literally just smile right back at it. There have been times where I've fallen and couldn't get up or just straight physically couldn't do something. And I mean, even to this day, honestly, there are times that just make me want to cry and give up, but instead I smile and sometimes even start laughing, no joke, almost like I'm delirious or something. And I take a deep breath, come up with an action plan to tackle whatever it is physically or mentally and whatever obstacle I'm facing. I mean, we've all heard it a million times, but it's true. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. At the end of the day, we are our own toughest opponent, but we are also our own greatest strength and advantage. The better your relationship with adversity, the greater opportunity for your own personal growth in the future. Not only can a positive attitude have a pivotal impact on how you deal with adversity, but also it can have a transformative and immediate impact on others. A lot of people say that you are a product of the closest 5 people that you spend the most time with or your environment and those relationships. But I also think that vice versa, your environment and the people around you can be a product of you and the vibes that you put out. I know obviously I would be nowhere near where I am today without my friends and family, but I can also confidently say that I have had a positive impact on them as well because of my attitude and how I've chosen to live my life since the accident. Positivity is infectious, and when you work to become more positive, positive people and opportunities come out of everywhere ready to support and surround you. Your attitude and energy can either attract people to you or detract people from you. And even bigger than that though, how you approach life every single day can inspire those around you more than you can imagine without ever even knowing it. So I'm here to tell you whether you are a therapist, you're a doctor, a nurse, a tech, a insurance coordinator, or a server in the cafeteria. Whether you believe it or not, you have the ability to have an incredible impact on the lives of people during the most vulnerable and traumatic time of their lives. No pressure, just saying, but I can tell you firsthand that I have a great story about someone in each one of those roles that had a positive impact on my life when I was in inpatient rehab. The Sheltering Arms Institute clearly has some of the best facilities and rehab equipment in the nation, but at the end of the day, it's only as good as the people running it, from the frontline workers to the top leadership. And luckily for the current and future patients there, I know you guys have the best of both worlds, and I couldn't be more excited to meet some of you in the future. In closing, I acknowledge that you guys have an extremely and very difficult and exhausting job that takes an infinite amount of compassion and patience, but I challenge you to start each and every day with a smile on your face and a positive attitude, knowing the magnitude of influence you have on those patients and their roads to recovery. There will be good days, there will be great days, and there will be bad days, but you have to take each day for what it is, stay positive, and move forward. In my favorite words of Dr. King, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. So please stay positive. It matters more than you'll ever know. God bless.